same
No.
time?
And then I went back to school.
Right.
We decided,
Up in Bemidji.
yeah, I decided, because we had your little ones and it,
Well, you
Didn't want to do that
had,
the
you
rest of
had
my life.
myself, Kathy, Christy, and Kurt then.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we went up to
Jennifer
Bemidji.
was born,
He was born in Bemidji.
born
Yeah.
in
In
Bemidji.
Bemidji, yeah.
Yeah. So we decided that wasn't the life.
Now, we were there, what, 3 years or 4? How long did it take you to get your...
Bemidji? Well, I had gone to college before that.
So
So
you had some preschool.
I think I did it. I did it about 2.5 years.
Yeah, we weren't there that long.
I did in the summertime, which you were there, so we went all summer too. And then I worked in a, when I first got there, I worked in an all-night convenience place. And that's that's when you pumped gas. I mean, you didn't have self-service.
Right.
And I can remember being out there. It's right next to the lake. It was a Western gas station. And they'd say, "Can you check my oil? Can you do this?" And I'd go, and I'd gone to college before and stopped. And I'd go, "You idiot!" And I'd be pumping.
Right.
And then I started working at a country club. That was a good job.
Yeah.
I worked at a country club, and they had. And at the country club on Thursday nights they had these stags. It was a private country club, real, and I made really good tips and stuff. But they would, and I tended bar there. And what they would do is, on Thursday night they'd have these stags, and they bring out all this gambling stuff.
Oh, really?
And I'm standing next to this guy, and he goes, I don't want to get in trouble because I didn't realize they were going to do this.
Right.
And he goes, well, see that guy over there? He's the sheriff. And this guy over here, he's the district attorney.
So all the top officials
So
are
they're
all
all
there,
out there.
all there gambling.
Yeah, and then they put all that stuff away. And it was called a bottle club.
Was it, were you getting tipped? Is that why it was a good job?
And you
or-
got, it's called a bottle club so that a lot of people came up there in the summer that were millionaires and had summer homes up there. But there, it was a bottle club, so they had their own bottles of booze, and you'd sell them a setup, which was just a mix. It was called a setup.
Right.
And then you go to they have numbers and their names, and you get to learn them, and then you go get them and pour them a drink, and then they pay you for that, for the setup.
So that's all you did, is just do that?
Yeah, that's all. And then they, well, this year busy doing that, and then this Charlie Cayley had radio stations, and he was an ordinary guy, but when he would buy somebody a drink, he would he had 2 bottles, one for him, Old Crow, and then this Pembroke cheap stuff for whoever he bought a drink for. So he would do that.
He had the
And
good
then,
stuff.
and then he
everybody
was
else
always
got the crap.
accusing you of shorting you on his drink. You know, the more you get drunk, he'd say,
Right.
"You're not.
But their own
you're
drinks.
shorting me. You know,
Their
you
own
guys are
bottles.
shorting me. You're charging me. You know." And he's real ornery. So when he would go home, I mean, when it's all over, he's always ornery. So this Benny Fox and I, we'd always we'd close up and we'd have a drink before we'd come home, and so we'd always go pull Charlie's Old Crow out. Say, "Thanks, Charlie, you old SOB." And,
Gee.
So you were shorting him, you weren't giving him anything. You were just giving him the...
That's crazy.
and then, and then they would tip you, these guys. And then at the end of the season, when they would close it up, they closed it up because it was, cold up there. They would tip you big time. So, and I could always tell the guys that, most of the time, the guys that were self-made rich people, millionaires,
Yeah.
and the
They
guys
tip better.
that
Tip you very well.
inherited, then all the self-made ones
they
were
better.
nice to you.
Okay.
The ones that were,
Well, got their money through
they were
family and...
most of them were jerks. But not, I mean, not the, that was, I'd say 80% of the guys that had a lot of money given to them were jerks.
Yeah.
They just, you were kind of like their servant. Oh yeah, and then on Thursday nights they would serve meals too, and steaks and stuff. And there was a policy that they wouldn't refreeze things. They wouldn't refreeze them if they didn't.
So
I
you
mean,
gotta
they
take
wouldn't
it
freeze
home?
them if they didn't serve them. They wouldn't freeze them.
Right.
So they used to give them out to you know, people that work there or whatever. And then the board made a decision that they wouldn't do that anymore. You had to throw it away.
Right.
So Jack Luma, who was my boss, he knew I had a family. He would take those steaks and stuff and wrap them all up and put them in the refrigerator and say, tell me, hey, on the way out, you want to throw those out?
His cue for
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so I took them home. I never said a word. And then we'd eat them for breakfast and grind them up, eat them for hamburger.
right.
And then
So in
I
Bemidji,
saw him after that, after I went up and taught that year, you know, and I thanked him for that. And he says, what are you talking about? And he just had a big grin on his face. But he would wrap it all up real nice, say, throw that out on the way.
So when you got your degree there, then the first job you got was Shitek.
Yeah, I got a degree in the middle of the year. And, yeah, and he,
Was that the first job you came across, or was there other?
there was 2 jobs.
Okay.
And the reason I got an interview in Shitek was a student taught in Bemidji, and the principal there was Crace's roommate in college.
Oh, sure.
So he knew him
Right.
and told me about the job. And so I came over and went into Crace's office, and then he took me around, introduced me to Fraley and Felsted, and asked me, he said, do you want the job? I said, yeah, I'll take it. There was no bunch of interviews or nothing, you know.
No
It's
formal
just
anything.
no
It was
formal
just
interview, yeah.
informal, and you got the
Yeah.
job. So and then it was a talk of layoffs is when you decided to
Yeah.
look and
Yeah.
and how did you come across the job of Bemidji then?
There was an electronics job in Bemidji that was there was a job that there was a guy going to retire in the junior high, and but he wasn't going to retire for a year. So yeah, we were talk of layoffs and
Because
so
that was the 4th year at Shitek, or was it
Yeah.
4th or 5th? I was in 4th. I went into 4th grade, so that had to have been
Yeah. So
5 years.
we went to Bemidji, and I, because there was electronics opening, so I went there and taught electronics, and they didn't have hardly any equipment, nothing. It was awful.
Right.
And so, but I was supposed to get the job the next year in junior high, but the principal decided that, hey, you did a good job here. We're gonna leave you there in electronics and hire somebody in the
Oh no.
junior high.
So why did we leave then and come back to Shitek then
Because-
after 1 year there?
Because I was going to get stuck with that electronics job.
Okay. So you decided that
I hated it.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I hated it.
But why did coming back to Shitek seem good? Because
Well, we still had the farm,
right.
and
Well, what did you have to come back to though? That's because you didn't come across State Farm until we got back, right?
no, that was kind of in the works a little bit in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And then that's when you started State Farm, and
Yeah.
that was a scratch agency.
Yeah.
That was from scratch.
yeah.
Okay. But it was just because